Hello, and welcome to Musings from the Mystics. I'm Marnie.
And I'm Natalie. We are your guides on this crazy and sometimes tumultuous journey we call the human experience.
Each episode will share our musings about the current energetic climate,
how we're navigating these times,
and tips to help you get the most out of your journey.
So join us to be awakened, empowered,
and expand into conscious action. Hello.
Welcome, everyone.
So, Natalie and I were sitting here getting ready to record, and both of us are just not in the mood, to be honest. We're in this, kind of space. And so we thought instead of a focused topic that we would just do a check-in. And one of the things we promise in our intro is how are we navigating these times? And it's been a bit of a bumpy ride in the last couple of weeks, would you say?
I would say shit show, but yeah. You say whatever you want.
I was trying to be delicate.
I was not.
Right? Well, we are having different experiences. You are having more of the shit show, and I'm having more of the I'm exhausted, and this is rough. So we decided that we would do a check-in and just talk about what's happening in our lives as people, women, humans on this journey that you're on as well, right? We're all on this ascending spiral and growing constantly. And so we thought we'd just kind of give you some insight into what we're experiencing and how we're navigating.
And it's very interesting. We talk a little bit about the Schumann here and there. And the Schumann is, like, we don't live by it, but when something's up, we'll look and we'll say, oh, that's a good explanation for it. But even
why did I wake up at 2 and 4 and 1?
And why does my head hurt?
Why is my head exploding?
Right. So we have those things too, and we don't follow it. And sometimes Marnie gets it ahead of time, and sometimes I get it a little later, and it doesn't always go with like this. We're in an integration period now.
Right. Well, it's not pinpointed and exact for everyone.
Right.
It's very different. Sometimes you get it before I get it.
That's true.
Or sometimes you have symptoms and I don't, or I have symptoms and you don't. So it does change. But I had twice this week. What day is it? Twice last week. Twice last week. I had wake me up out of a dead sleep, third eye headache. I've never had a headache in the center of my head before. And I was like, something's going on. And I look at the Schumann and there's nothing. And then within 24 hours, we had a timeline jump. And I was like, okay, God. I mean, I sat straight up in bed going, oh my God, my head is killing me. And then it was okay the next day. And then it happened again to a lesser degree. So headaches, I've been experiencing that. And a lot of physical fatigue, just super tired physically. Like I keep saying, I feel like I ran a marathon and I haven't really done that much today, right? Now this week, at the end of this week, I have been this weekend a lot. I've been working on the retreat center. I have a potential event, people coming to look at it. And so I've been having to get the overnight rooms
yes.
ready to go. And I have been like a beast trying to accomplish those things. And it's, I used to do this kind of thing all the time. And then I became more, I don't want to say sedentary or idle, but less of a doer. I spent more time in introspection and contemplation, and my work is more energetic versus physical. And this is requiring a lot of physical exertion for me. But even that doesn't explain the exhaustion that I am feeling, the tiredness in my body. Are you experiencing a lot of physical stuff too?
I'm experiencing some physical stuff, but mine are more messages from my guides, the universe, like, hello, you have resistance. You're resisting our messages. You're really resisting our messages. Let's see how strong we can make it for you till we get the point through. So I've had some physical symptoms because of that. Mm-hmm. But also like releasing. Those old stories are coming back
Man,
up.
aren't they though? I'm like, I'm doing this work and then the scarcity shit comes up. I'm like, come on, man. How many times? How many times do we have to let this go? And I hear my clients say it all the time. And I want you to know, right? This is the process. Yep, here it comes again. Okay, some scarcity. What am I going to do with this? And I keep having this song lyric go through my head for like the last week or more. And it's just this one lyric over and over and over. Basically, you can do it. You can do anything. Anything. You can do anything. Okay, Sia, I hear you.
Right.
So every time that like the story pops in, the universe follows it up with, here's confirmation, everything's okay, or the numbers.
Right, the synchronicities.
The synchronicities are happening.
Yes.
And so I think for me, I go, okay, I kind of laugh at it and go, okay, I see myself being human. All right, let that go. I see it happening, right? I think the biggest thing is that we don't attach to it. No matter how many times it comes back to slap us in the face.
Well, and I think the other point, just like I just said, sometimes it can go either way. Like if you're really resisting it and not getting the message, it's going to get more intense. However, it could also be the releasing of it, like, oh, I see it again. Yep, I know what you are. I'm letting you go. So it could be either way too. Like there's not a one set of rules. I was getting smacked in the head, like, pay attention, do this. And the message became louder and louder every day that went by.
Yeah.
And
so I mentioned mine was scarcity, and yours is people need to understand that there's like this wide range of things that we may be coming up against.
mine was relationships. Mine's been a whole plethora of things.
Lay down the dirt. Let's hear it.
So relationships, husband, son, big ones that keep popping up. That I spent Saturday in tears talking to my son because I was hurt and feeling the pain, even though I know it doesn't have that much to do with me. We're still entwined in a relationship, and I was hurt.
Yeah.
I was flat out hurt, and it wasn't even total lack of consideration or lack of like, I'm doing this to you on purpose. It was a result, and that's how I felt. So it was relationships. It's also, I'm getting the message, pay more attention to what I put in my body, my foods that I'm eating. Like, I've gotten the message, you want to move up that ascending spiral? Well, here's the way to do it. Well, I like pizza and I want to eat pizza. And so I'm arguing with myself about, oh my God, pizza's my favorite food. What am I going to eat? And then finally, like, my lips were burning and peeling when I ate certain things. And Marnie can attest to this. The other day I looked at her and I was like, I am going to lose it. I'm going to have a flat out meltdown. I can't eat anything. I can't put anything in my mouth. Mm-hmm. And she helped me.
Yeah.
But I still had to go through the process of, all right, am I really going to do this or am I going to be in pain? Like, which works for me better?
Right. It's always a choice, right? We talk about that all the time. We always have the choice. And regardless of how much growth you've done and how much the answers, right? We know the answers. We still experience it. There's no spiritually bypassing. And I think that's what we talk about.
Yes.
When we say you can't spiritually bypass, it means it doesn't matter how much growth you've done. You're still going to have that shit hit you in the face.
Right.
And you're going to have to look at it. Okay, this doesn't work anymore. I need to do something else. I need to make a different choice.
And I could have made the choice, like, I'm going to continue to eat whatever I want. I don't care how bad my lips hurt, and I'm going to suck it up. But that wouldn't have been the right choice for me because of the amount of pain that I was in. Like, if I chose that, I can't imagine the next level of pain that I would have been feeling. And I kind of feel like I have a high tolerance to pain as it is.
Yeah.
So
it's like MA talked about this when we step on this journey. We're like enrolling in the school, the Ascension school, and you can't unlike school, you cannot drop out.
You can try. It's not going to work.
Right? You can't just go, okay, I'm going to drop this class. This class isn't working for me. No, you still have the exams. You still have the pop quizzes. Like, you're in it. You're in it. You're in it. And do you really want to go backwards anyway? As much as like we might be like, I'm holding on to that pizza, or I'm going to hold on to this story. I'm going to hold on to, whatever, my pity party, whatever it happens to be. As much as you want to, do you really want to hold on to it? I mean, you don't.
You don't. And then the other part that came up for me is I made the decision, and then I had someone question my decision. Like, do you really think it couldn't be a medical problem?
Did you punch him in the face?
I so wanted to.
I think that deserves a punch in the face.
I really did want to, but I was like, no, I'm getting the message. And that's hard for some people to understand. I get it. But I was like, okay, no, I made this decision. This was the right decision for me. I'm sticking with it. But then I had to defend myself. Well, I chose to defend myself.
Yeah.
But, so you get
which
that.
Which is another story, right?
You get that on top of everything else.
Something else we're getting to let go is of having to defend ourselves and what we know to be true or right for us, and that need, especially as women, to defend. And that's like the kind of the latest surge of energy that I'm seeing in this rise of the feminine energy is stop defending yourself. And we've gone through several phases, but right now it feels like stop defending yourself. Don't even engage in that argument. Right. Whatever you're experiencing, like, this is my thing. This is what I'm going through. And I don't need to explain it to you or defend myself to what I'm experiencing, especially if it's like, okay, I'm struggling right now with it.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'm having a hard time. I want to have a pity party right now. I want to feel sorry for myself. Shut your face and just let me feel sorry for myself. I will work through it. But that's the thing. I think we think this process, this spiritual awakening and ascension is, we don't have those things, but we do. We do. The trick is we don't attach to it. We experience it. We move through it. Yes. But the only way to the other side is through. You cannot bypass. You can't go over it or under it or around it. You have to go through it. Right now, I'm feeling sorry for myself. Shut your face and let me feel sorry for myself. I will work my way out of it.
Right. And that's especially when we're in other relationships, like, they want to help you. They want to fix it. They want to tell you all the ins and outs of how you can do it better, or how you can do it their way, or what works for them. And when you're in that, you don't want to hear that either. Like, oh, hell no. Leave me alone. I didn't ask you to accommodate me.
Right.
I'm just telling you how I feel right now.
Yeah.
So that stop, let me just say, let me get it out and say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We practiced that the other night. If I want your opinion back, I'm going to ask for it. If I need help, I'm going to ask for it. Other than that, just listen and be on your merry way.
Yeah. She's referring to our ascension circle that we had, and some guidelines that we had about being heard versus being fixed.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it was powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I want to say enlightening, but not in the enlightening way, but it like physically lightens your body up to say, oh, I can just say this and it's okay, and nobody's judging me. Mm-hmm. Nobody's fixing me. Nobody has to respond. I'm just getting it out, and that's all I needed to do. Yeah,
so the rule was, or the guidepost is what I was calling them, the structure of this circle is that everyone is responsible for themselves, their feelings, what they say. If you want something after speaking, it was their responsibility to say, I would like feedback, I would like advice, does anyone have a similar story, what have you. But otherwise, if you say thank you at the end, that's it.
You're done.
You're done, and we say thank you for sharing, and that's it. So you get to be witnessed and really seen and heard without Me Too stories, which, we think that is really helpful for people, like to hear, oh, me too. But all that does is take all the focus off the person who just shared something really important to them. So those kinds of things, even though we think they make us relatable, they're actually robbing someone of being seen and heard. So that was another thing. We don't do that unless you ask specifically for that.
And it doesn't mean that it doesn't resonate with the person next to them. And when the person next to them, it's their turn, they can say, oh, that resonated with me. Mm-hmm. Here's how I feel when it's their turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a good thing.
And I think we can take that into relationships, since that this whole year I think is about blowing up relationships. It seems to be a new wave of blowing up relationships happening. But to take that in, I am sharing something with you. If I want your advice, I will ask for it. If I want, so my daughter and I, when she was a teenager, this was one of the things that we had, because I would take everything that she said and I would try to remember it. And of course, as a mom, I wanted to help and give advice. And so I learned to say, do you want advice? Do you want an ear? Do you want to vent? What is this conversation about? And now she knows if she's saying something, she's like, I just want to vent. Great. So I'm just listening and nothing else.
Right. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing. And if she wants advice, then she'll say, and I might want advice. I'll let you know. And then she'll get it out and she goes, okay, now what do you think? And that was such a beautiful way for us to learn to communicate. And I think we don't practice that enough, especially in our close relationships.
Correct.
Especially in marriage, those relationships, because there's all this assumption about, you know me, I know you, you should know the answers, you should know my love language, what I want, what I don't want, right? But which is wrong. No.
And it can change.
Right.
All of it can change.
It can all change. And we talked about this during the communication piece of our authentic series. But I think it's important to restate that we have to ask for what we need and not make assumptions. And so to set some guidelines, like, I'm just venting.
Right.
Just listen. Nothing else. Just listen. Or I actually would like your opinion, your advice. What do you think? Which I think would probably happen less.
Could be. Well, and I actually used the words with my husband this past weekend that said, he said something and I said, I did not like when you said that. I would prefer that you do not communicate with me that way in the future. And I said it just as I just said it here, very monotone, very calmly, and just expressed my my feelings, my boundaries, we'll say. Yeah. And he said, okay. That was something totally new and different for us. So I'm still digesting that, but it was very easy. It wasn't hard to do. It wasn't argumentative. It wasn't a confrontation. It was, okay, you said this, I didn't enjoy it. Yeah. Don't do that again.
I would you agree with this? I feel like we are in a constant state of change right now. This whole year. It's like there's no breath. There's no inhale, no exhale. It's just boom, 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 boom. As soon as you're finished with something, there's something else that comes up. It has felt like a barrage, a nonstop of change.
It is. It is.
And I think part of my exhaustion is
change.
It's just been a lot. And I am someone who's actually really good with change. I sort of thrive on change. I get bored very quickly and easily. So I like change, and I'm exhausted from the change. I can only imagine what other people are experiencing. So if you're like, I'm tired and I don't know why, we are in this constant cocoon stage. We are like decomposing and rebuilding, decomposing, rebuilding, decomposing, rebuilding. Constantly, like almost like the butterfly cycle is about a day.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like it just, or a week maybe. Like it's really short. It's really short, and it just feels like there's so much going on, and stories we're familiar with. I'm not getting a lot of new stories. It all feels like old stuff. Old not enoughness, old worthiness, old scarcity. It's all like old stuff. Familiar bedfellows, you know?
Familiar fear.
Yeah.
Because it's all fear.
It's
all fear that just wants to try and recreate itself until you're willing to unattach from it and let it go.
But then we're coming from this state of exhaustion.
Uh-huh.
And so you're like, oh,
how do I do this again?
How do I'm tired. I don't want to look at this story again. I can say I don't spend a lot of time looking at any of it. It's more like, oh, I see you. Okay, yeah. I'm familiar with this scarcity story. Yep, okay. I'm not attaching to it. I'm just moving forward. And then that song lyric will pop into my head. You can do anything. And I'm like, okay, universe, I can do anything. And I just keep moving along.
Right.
Right?
I have let it go happen frequently.
Oh, God, I don't know that song, so do not sing it. I'm so afraid that song will be stuck in my head. Just, no. I will
we might
never
attach it to the podcast just for the hell of it.
I will never watch that movie because I don't want that song.
It's a good movie, though.
No, I don't care. I have enough going on in this brain that I do not need a song that will never leave stuck in there.
Well, all right. We'll let that one go.
Stop it.
And it's okay. All of this is okay. And yes, we're sitting here joking about it. And yes, some of you may be having a really tough time with it. Trust me.
So are we.
We both had a week from hell last week.
Yeah.
And on top of that, my clients were off the charts too. Like, I had people say, I need to see you today. Can we make this work?
Yeah.
And normally I don't let somebody schedule that quickly, but they were desperate and needed some help. So it's not just us. I'm sure there's people out there. I'm sure everybody's feeling it.
Well, even on the flip side of that, it's like plans and things that you thought were going to go the way they were going to go. I've got this on Friday and this on whatever, right, is not working out. Things are like kind of scrambled up, and it's requiring a lot of grace.
It is.
A lot of self-grace. Like, well, that didn't turn out like I thought it was going to turn out, or that didn't work out, or wow, that was like 10 times more work than I thought it was going to take. And just having a lot of grace and space for it to not look like you think it's going to look. Because I was talking to a client last week about expectations, and I was like, nothing ever turns out like you think or expect it's going to. Ever. Sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's worse. Sometimes, most of the time, it's parallel, right? It happens, but not in the way that you anticipated. And so I think just let that go, right? The attachment to what it's going to look like. And I think that's a really strong energy right now that's happening and swirling around. It's like, oh, you thought you had plans, or oh, you thought this was going to happen. Like, just
nope.
Just like, okay, that may work out.
It might.
That may happen. But how that happens, or what it looks like when that happens, try to not have any attachment to that. I had plans all weekend. I've been working. I thought it was going to take me a really long time. And surprisingly, Natalie and her son came and helped me. And I was like, how would I have ever done this by myself? Like, I envisioned that I was going to be strong enough to move. I moved 3 mattresses this weekend. Like, who does that? Marnie does that. That's who does that. And they're big and heavy, and it would have taken me months to get that done because I was going to do it by myself. So that happened to work out better, which opened up time, and I ended up doing 10 times more than I probably should have because I'm very tired physically because of that. So no matter how your expectations of how it's going to turn out,
right,
it will not. It will be different.
No, because Marnie was like, I don't know that I want to do that. I'm like, we're here now. You might as well. We're here now. Let's just do it. And she's like, okay. Just get it done.
Right.
She's like, okay.
Yeah, my body
so we
was
did.
screaming, but I'm so happy it's done, right? I'm so
Right.
happy it's done.
Right.
Yeah. And so maybe that relates to work projects or family plans or company because it's summer, or I guess a lot of kids have just gone back to school this week, which I'm sorry, it's July or year round.
Year-round schools, yes. My son went back this week, so yes.
So, things are shifting and changing, and it's just like, I feel like you just have to let go and let the tide take you.
You kind of do. And it's funny, as you said that, there's an Abraham Hicks that they always talk about with going with the flow, but they say if you're a cork, are you holding your cork down or are you letting it bob up the top and go with the flow? When you just said that reminded me, and that's a good thing.
Interesting.
Like,
I never heard that.
let it flow with the tide. Are you swimming upstream? Are you paddling? Or are you just going?
Yeah. Or trying to desperately stay where you are.
Yeah, don't do that.
Which basically you'll just drown.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Now, having said don't do that, you can. Free will. You're right.
Yeah.
You get to
Well, I
choose
think we
whatever
both
you
have
want.
done that, right? We both have gone into that, digging our heels in, wanting to do or be upset or feel a certain way about whatever. And then we go, okay, this isn't serving me. Then we let it go.
I call it my line in the sand. How willing am I to have that line in the sand?
Explain that.
It's the do not cross. It's the line in the sand of do not cross this. Am I willing to fight you no matter what? Or am I willing to let the wind blow and cover my line up and move on? It's
Oh, interesting.
yeah, it's like that.
Very aggressive.
It is. It is.
You're so not.
I have my moments.
Okay.
Marnie doesn't know the type A OCD Natalie that
Don't.
used to iron her sheets before she put them on her bed.
Okay, that's bad.
I don't do that anymore, but I did. I don't even make my bed for the most part anymore, but I did. Because if they were wrinkled just a little bit, oh, that would throw me over the edge.
So interesting. Mine was silverware. The silverware had to be lined up or I would lose my shit.
Now, having said that, so I've turned that into a more healthy thing for me. This past weekend, I emptied my fridge. I cleaned it out. I got rid of old stuff. I put it all back, nice and neat. I did my freezer, same thing. Took the drawers out, cleaned them, did all that, and I reorganized my pantry. And somebody might call it OCD, but it was...
No, that feels good.
It was a distraction. It was organization. I was getting rid of crap that I don't need. And it felt good. I enjoyed doing that. It wasn't a chore. It was a fun thing.
Yeah.
And I think if we could look at some of those things in a more positive light, like, okay, yeah, I did iron my sheets. I learned I don't really need to do that. But this is the flip side where it was putting things in order, but it felt so much better to do it.
Well, I think that's brilliant because sometimes if we do something seemingly mundane, very human, very lifing, right? We're adulting or whatever, that process of throwing things out and cleaning things up translates energetically and spiritually.
Yes.
Especially because when I do things like that, I'm all in my thoughts, right? I'm thinking about things and I'm letting things go, or the puzzle pieces are dropping in together and I'm starting to understand things, because those sort of monotonous, mindless tasks give me space for that. So I think it's actually a really good therapy if you're struggling with, what the hell do I do? And I'm swirling and I'm overwhelmed and I'm drowning, and, try something like that where you throw something out, you're cleaning something up and straightening it up, because it does, even feng shui works with these principles of decluttering and things like that. It unclutters the mind, it unclutters the energy, it allows for some space and movement, and it can help through those things.
It can.
that you're struggling with.
Yeah. Your words were correct. Very therapeutic, especially for me and what I like to do.
Yeah.
And that's almost a creative outlet for me as well.
Oh, I get that.
I don't typically paint. Like, that's not always my thing, but the organizing and that's totally me.
Yeah. No, I get that. Alphabetizing stuff and...
Oh, yes. All my spaces are in alphabetical order.
Right. Mine are not. Well, they are. They're on a Lazy Susan, but they are in alphabetical order. Now
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like that too. There's something about that organization component that is soothing to my mind, because my mind is always going and always thinking. Now, if you're not somebody who enjoys organization, what could we suggest for them to do to help get out of the crazy, cluttery mind space?
Well, there are several things. Some people, it's as simple as walking outside in your bare feet and ground. Like, that will just help release a little bit of energy for that immediate moment. Or do the creative thing, do the painting, read a book, journal. There's something about a blank page that just...
Yeah, but see, journaling and reading a book don't really let you think about your own thoughts. They distract you. But painting would. Or knitting or cross-stitching or something where you're not having to think.
Coloring.
I
mean, we as an adult, right? We as adults forget to color. I love to color, actually. For some people, it's cooking.
That's true. That's creative space.
Yeah, it is. Well, and actually, like, I am not a gym person, but for some people, like, their workout routine is the distraction of, but I'm working on X, Y, and Z today. I'm doing my upper body today, and I'm going to hit this circuit or these things.
My daughter, that's her decompression, is working out. And I'm like, I would rather almost do anything than exercise.
I like hiking. Like, hiking's my thing.
Well, walking doesn't feel like exercise to me. But
I like
going to the gym, no thank you.
But for some people, it's also gardening.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole bunch, and it's not a right or wrong answer for anybody. You know, it could be any of those things.
Yeah.
So, we're feeling it.
Yeah. To say the least.
And we just wanted to let you know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And that we're feeling it. I'm sure some of you are feeling it. Maybe a lot of you are feeling it. Maybe all of you are feeling it.
And you may be feeling it in different ways. I think that's really the biggest thing. I mean, Natalie and I work together. We do similar work. We're on the same sort of path. And we experience this differently. Of course, she's got a child at home still and married, and I'm single. So there's a little bit of a difference as far as relationships go there. But we also experience things physically different, and timing is different. You know, I may be going, oh my God, what's happening? And there's nothing happening on the thing. I'm like, maybe it's a solar flare. Nope, nothing's going on. And then a day or two later, it's like, oh, there it is.
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Okay. And now I'm fine. And everybody else feels it.
Well, and there was one morning a couple weeks ago that you were like, oh, I'm miserable. I didn't sleep. I didn't that. And I was like...
I was up 3 times.
Yeah, and I was like, oh... I feel great.
I know
I'm ready to go. Like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z today. It's going to be great.
She was the Energizer Bunny, and I was low-key pissed off about it.
Right. Totally.
I had not slept at all, and she had all this energy. So that can be it, too. You can experience the same energy tired, or it could energize you.
Right. It could go any of those ways. And none of it is wrong.
Right. None of it's right or wrong, for sure.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
It just happens, and I think that's another, the theme of this year being, you know, authenticity and autonomy and self and all of that, is that don't listen to what everyone else is saying. No. Where are you? How do you feel? What do you need? Because it doesn't matter if all the, you know, content people are like, oh, blah, 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 blah. It's this and this and this. And you're like, that doesn't make you wrong. It just makes you different.
It does, and it's a good thing. And even if it's a coach, even if it's somebody that you let's say, per se look up to, or somebody like that, you still get to choose whether it resonates. I have had some people that I've done spiritual work with. And I remember I did an Akashic reading with someone, and she was great and she was fabulous. And there was a whole bunch that resonated with me, but there was something she said, and I was like, oh, maybe that's for you, because that is not for, no way, no, So you still get to decide what resonates too.
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully this was helpful. I know we didn't really have a topic today, but that's, the nature of ascension. Sometimes you're not in it. So, and I keep questioning, is this valuable? Are people enjoying it? Do we keep doing it? I've been asking for about 6 weeks now. Natalie, do we still want to do this? Do they care? Is it helping people? So please let us know.
Yes, comment,
DM us, message, like, share, do all those things, but let us know if you are finding this valuable, if you enjoy it, if you want us to continue. It's important to know. We need feedback, and I know life is lifing. I get it, and we know you're busy, but we also know that the work is important.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And so if we're serving you, then I'm willing.
And we are willing. And we are going to have these conversations with each other, whether they're recorded and sent out to you all or not. So if you would let us know whether you want to continue with this, because we're going to still talk this way regardless.
Right. Yeah. And I have another download to talk about. We talk a lot about the pause. I'm not going to talk about it in this podcast, perhaps next week. But understanding that pause a little bit better and how valuable and crucial it is. So, and who knows what else will come up in the next few days.
Okay.
So let us know. Hopefully we'll see you next time or hear you next time. You'll hear us next time.
All of the above.
Oh my God. You see where I am so flabbergasted. I'm just like, where am I? What day is it? I don't even know. It's Monday, right? It's when we're recording this, it's Monday. I'm so lost right now. Yeah.
Let us know, and thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Until next week, in peace and love and light, this is Marnie.
And much love and appreciation, this is Natalie.